In the mighty Persian Empire, under the reign of King Xerxes, who ruled over 127 provinces from India to Kush, there came a day when beauty became destiny. King Xerxes, known for his extravagant feasts and impulsive decisions, had just dismissed his queen Vashti for daring to defy his public command. Now a new queen was to be chosen. Across the empire, young virgins were gathered and brought to the royal harem in Susa for a year-long beauty treatment. Yes, a full year of oils, spices, and perfumes. Among them was a young Jewish woman named Hadassah, though she was known in Persia as Esther. She was beautiful, yes, but also wise, poised, and humble. She had been raised by her older cousin Mordecai, a devout Jew who had instructed her to keep her heritage a secret for now. When Esther was brought before the king, she captured his heart more than any other. Without delay, Xerxes placed the crown on her head and made her queen of Persia. But the palace was more dangerous than glamorous. Power was fragile, secrets were everywhere, and a storm was brewing. Around the same time, Mordecai uncovered a plot to assassinate the king. He told Esther, who informed Xerxes, crediting Mordecai. The plot was foiled, and the names were written down in the royal record, but Mordecai received no reward. At least, not yet. Enter Haman, the villain with a flair for drama and a hatred for Mordecai. The king elevated Haman to a high position, commanding that all should bow before him. But Mordecai refused. He would not bow to anyone but God. Haman was enraged. Learning that Mordecai was a Jew, he didn't just want to punish Mordecai, he wanted to annihilate all the Jews in the kingdom. Haman convinced Xerxes to issue a decree. On a certain day, all Jews, young and old, men and women, would be destroyed. The edict was sealed with the king's ring and sent across the empire. Panic spread, sackcloth and ashes, mourning and weeping. And in the heart of the city, Mordecai stood clothed in grief. Esther, safe in the palace, heard of Mordecai's mourning and sent word. Mordecai replied with a challenge that would pierce history. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Esther was shaken. To go before the king uninvited could mean death. The law was clear. Unless the king extended his golden scepter, the visitor was to be executed. But after fasting for 3 days with her people, Esther stood up with courage. If I perish, I perish. She dressed in royal robes and approached the king's throne. The room tensed. Silence. Then, the scepter was extended. Xerxes welcomed her with curiosity and warmth. What is your request, my queen? Esther didn't strike immediately. She invited the king and Haman to a banquet. At the feast, she invited them to yet another banquet the next day. Haman, puffed up with pride, strutted home until he saw Mordecai again refusing to bow. Furious, he had a 75-foot gallows built just for him. That night, the king couldn't sleep. Divine timing? Absolutely. He ordered the royal chronicles to be read aloud. The reader just so happened to mention Mordecai's past act of loyalty in saving the king's life. Xerxes asked, "Has anything been done to honor this man?" The answer, nothing. At that very moment, Haman entered to ask permission to hang Mordecai. The king asked Haman, what should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman, thinking the king meant him, launched into a grand idea. Royal robes, the king's horse, a noble escort shouting praises. Excellent, the king replied. Go at once, do all this for Mordecai the Jew. If Haman's jaw could have hit the floor, it would have gone through it. So Haman paraded his enemy through the streets, ashamed, seething, and yet he still had to attend Esther's second banquet. There Esther finally revealed the truth. O king, I and my people have been sold to destruction and death. The king, shocked, demanded, who would dare do such a thing? Esther pointed across the table. This vile Haman. Xerxes stormed out in rage. Haman begged Esther for mercy, throwing himself onto her couch just as the king returned. Will he assault the queen even in my presence? And just like that, Haman was condemned. His fate was poetic. He was hanged on the very gallows he had built for Mordecai. But the threat was not over. The royal edict still stood. On a set day, the Jews could still be attacked. So the king issued a new decree. The Jews could now defend themselves, and when the day came, they did, boldly and victoriously. Mordecai was promoted. Esther's name was etched into history. The Jewish people celebrated their deliverance with the Feast of Purim, a celebration that endures to this day. And all because one woman, hidden in the palace, chose to rise in courage and step forward for such a time as this. If you are loving this video, please hit both that subscribe and like button to help this message to spread far and wide. Check out the rest of the Bible Stories playlist to enjoy heartwarming events of the Bible brought alive. Thank you for supporting the Wake Up channel. God bless you.